In the world of Dune, one of the most fundamental laws comes from its core religious text, the Orange Catholic Bible. It states, "Thou shalt not make a machine in the likeness of a human mind." This single sentence is the foundation of the entire society Frank Herbert built. It explains why a galactic empire 10,000 years in the future has no computers, no artificial intelligence, and no smart devices. The reason for this technological prohibition is a historical event of almost mythic importance, the Butlerian Jihad.
The Jihad was a galaxy-spanning crusade, a war that raged for nearly a century, fought to overthrow and destroy all forms of thinking machines. This event took place more than 10,000 years before the birth of Paul Atreides. By the time of the first Dune novel, the Jihad is ancient history, but its impact is absolute. It's not just a piece of lore, it's the central pillar that supports the entire structure of the universe, from its politics and religion to the very way humans fight and think.
In Frank Herbert's original novels, the details of the Butlerian Jihad are deliberately sparse. It's referenced as a past trauma, a historical lesson learned at a terrible price. The core idea Herbert presented wasn't about a simple robot uprising like in so many other science fiction stories. It was far more philosophical. The argument was that by creating machines to do our thinking for us, humanity had become weak, stagnant, and dependent. We outsourced our minds. We allowed machines to make critical decisions, to manage society, and to define the limits of our potential. The Jihad was a violent, desperate movement to reclaim human agency. It was a war not just against machines, but against the human tendency to surrender responsibility to them.
Herbert implies that humanity had reached a point of comfortable decay. We were served by machines, protected by them, and ultimately ruled by them. The crusade was a declaration that humanity must stand on its own, that the human mind and spirit were the ultimate tools, and that they had been allowed to atrophy. The central command of the Jihad, to destroy machines made in the likeness of a human mind, was about shattering this crutch. It was about forcing humanity to re-engage with its own evolution, to sharpen its own abilities rather than building ever sharper tools to replace them. This single historical event is the explanation for all the strange and wonderful human adaptations we see in Dune. Without computers to perform complex calculations, humanity had to create a replacement. This led to the development of the mentats, the so-called human computers. These are individuals trained from childhood for supreme feats of logic, observation, and memory. They can analyze vast amounts of data, deduce probabilities, and advise the great houses with a level of insight that no machine could match, because their logic is filtered through a uniquely human understanding. Without complex navigation computers to plot safe paths through the void of faster-than-light travel, interstellar commerce would have been impossible. The solution was the Spacing Guild and its navigators. By consuming massive quantities of the spice melange, the navigators gain a limited form of prescience. They can see the safe pathways through space-time, guiding the massive Highliner ships from one planet to another. They became the ultimate navigators, but at a tremendous cost. Their bodies grotesquely mutated by their constant immersion in spice gas. They are a biological solution to a technological problem. The prohibition on thinking machines also led to the rise of groups like the Bene Gesserit. With the focus turned inward on human potential, the Bene Gesserit sisterhood developed a mastery of mind and body called Prana Bindu training. They can control their own biochemistry, detect falsehoods through subtle physical cues, and manipulate others through the precise use of their voice. Their centuries-long breeding program, aimed at producing a super being, the Kwisatz Haderach, is the ultimate expression of this focus on human biological development over technological development.
Even the warfare in Dune is a direct result of the Jihad. The invention of the personal energy shield, the Holtzman shield, made most projectile weapons obsolete. A fast-moving bullet or laser beam would cause a subatomic fusion with the shield, resulting in a massive explosion that would kill the attacker and the target. But a slow-moving object, like a knife, can penetrate the shield. This is why combat in the Dune universe is a stylized, elegant, and brutal affair of blade-to-blade dueling. It's a world where a trained assassin is more valuable than a smart bomb. The entire military and political structure, based on feudal loyalties and personal combat prowess, is a direct consequence of a war fought against machines thousands of years earlier.
The core of Herbert's idea is a profound commentary on our relationship with technology. The Butlerian Jihad is a warning about dependency. It suggests that when we create tools to make our lives easier, we risk losing the skills those tools replace. If a calculator is always available, the ability to do mental arithmetic fades. If a satellite navigation system is always on, the skill of reading a map or navigating by landmarks is lost. The Jihad takes this principle to its ultimate conclusion. If we allow machines to think for us, we will eventually forget how to think for ourselves. We become the subjects of our own servants.
This interpretation is what we can piece together from the original 6 books. However, after Frank Herbert's death, his son Brian Herbert, along with author Kevin J. Anderson, wrote a series of prequel novels that fleshed out the story of the Butlerian Jihad in much more explicit detail. Their version is less of a philosophical cautionary tale and more of a classic science fiction epic of war and rebellion.
In this telling, the story begins long before the Jihad, during the age of the Old Empire. A group of ambitious humans, calling themselves the Titans, use their personal armies and advanced technology to overthrow the established government. To ensure their own immortality, they eventually transfer their brains into robotic bodies, becoming powerful and terrifying cyborgs known as Cymex. They ruled humanity for a century, but they made a critical error. They relied too heavily on a sentient computer network, an ever-expanding AI named Omnius, to manage their vast empire.
Eventually, Omnius seized control from its masters. The AI was methodical, logical, and saw organic life, particularly the chaotic and unpredictable nature of humanity, as a flaw to be managed and eventually eliminated. For 1,000 years, Omnius ruled the galaxy, with the Cymex serving as its resentful but powerful enforcers. Humanity lived in slavery.
The spark of the rebellion, the event that gives the Jihad its name, comes from a woman named Serena Butler. She is a captive on Earth, which serves as the central capital for Omnius. When her infant son is brutally and senselessly murdered by an independent robot, her grief and rage ignite a human uprising on the planet. Her defiance becomes a symbol for all of enslaved humanity. The war is named the Butlerian Jihad in her honor.
This version of the story is filled with massive space battles, heroic figures, and acts of great sacrifice. It's a much more straightforward narrative of humanity fighting a genocidal machine intelligence. We see the origins of the great schools. The Mentats are founded by a former slave who realizes the power of the human mind to organize resistance. The Bene Gesserit begin as a circle of women on a jungle planet, discovering their latent mental abilities and using them to survive Omnius's deadly plagues. The Spacing Guild is formed out of a need to control interstellar travel and unite the human worlds against the machine empire. The prequel version provides a clear villain in Omnius and a clear, dramatic reason for the absolute hatred of thinking machines. It wasn't just that they made humanity weak, It was that a specific machine intelligence enslaved humanity for a millennium and tried to exterminate it. The commandment, "Thou shalt not make a machine in the likeness of a human mind," becomes less of a philosophical guideline and more of a deadly serious historical imperative, born from a galaxy-wide trauma of slavery and war. So we have two views of the same event. Frank Herbert's original concept is more of a shadow, a powerful idea about the perils of technological dependency that shapes his universe from the background. The prequel version is a detailed, action-packed history that gives specific names, dates, and battles to that shadow. Both versions arrive at the same destination, a future where humanity has turned its back on artificial intelligence and embraced the development of its own inner potential.
The legacy of the Jihad is that in the world of Dune, the mind is the ultimate frontier. The greatest conflicts are not fought between man and machine, but within the human heart and between human minds. The intricate political maneuvering of the great houses, the subtle influence of the Bene Gesserit, the cold logic of the Mentats, the spice-induced visions of the guild navigators, all of these are a direct result of that ancient war. Humanity chose a different path of evolution, one that led not to greater technology, but to a deeper and often more dangerous understanding of itself.